Welcome to the Creative Guidance Podcast, episode number 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Creative Guidance Podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Silverhorn. I'm coming to you today in my studio here in Oklahoma, and I am recording this session on an app called Spreaker Studio. Yes, Spreaker, Spreaker Studio. That link will be in the show notes for you. This is the first time that I'm using this app, and it allows you to add in music, which you heard in the beginning, so I'm kind of playing around with that. And I will walk you through that along the way as I try different methods to do this podcast. Today, I wanted to talk to you about logos versus branding. Now, this is something that I've had quite a few questions about. One of the things that I see often is a business owner will come and tell me that they have had a logo made and they paid someone to do one, and then they weren't happy with it, and then they went on Etsy and then they found one, and then everybody has the same one, and they're having a lot of problems with getting the right brand or representation of what their business is. Well, this is very typical, and what most business owners think is that, a good logo design is just going to attract a customer. If the logo is good, then they're going to decide to purchase the product or service. Well, if the logo itself doesn't trigger a positive emotional reaction, then it's not doing anything. And actually, bad design will actually lose you money. So there's different things that, factor in when we do logo design and that sort of thing. One of the things is like emotional triggers. If it triggers a memory or an intellectual response, or like, yeah, this is cool, or kind of like McDonald's or fast food chain or something of that nature, they have a memory response. You got the Happy Meal when you were a little kid and that sort of thing. So if a potential customer sees your new logo design and they do not have any memories tied with it, or they don't have any emotional response tied with it, they don't feel excited or enlightened in any way, then that design's not working. And the whole logo per se and the whole brand is consumed with your logo, your fonts, your color scheme, your branding styles. This is all part of. So your colors have to be picked in accordance to what you're marketing. For instance, going back to McDonald's, their colors are red and yellow. Red is a color that invokes hunger. Yellow is a complementary color to that, and so it stands out really well. You have that symbol in your head of the golden arches, and you can almost picture and smell, the Big Mac or the juicy hamburger or something of that nature. One of the things is, if you're trying to sell bath products, or you're trying to do something that is, more natural, then fluorescent pinks and fluorescent oranges and dark purples and that sort of thing, maybe not the way to go. So people will see color and they will have a response to that color, because we are trained to have emotional responses or memory responses with these colors. So if you see a pastel pink or a pastel blue, you're going to think of a baby. If you see red and green together, you're going to think of Christmas. And so if you're wanting something that's like soothing and calm and peaceful, then, you might want a muted green or a light blue, or, something that's the color of the ocean or sea, or something that's tranquil. So those type of things is what we take into consideration and what you need to take into consideration. And I have a really good blog post on and some guidance on color, because that was another really big topic that I wanted to talk about as well. So that is actually on my blog post, and that will be in the show notes as well. So on the branding side of it, so that's just your logo. So when it comes to your branding is how you interact with the customer. That is your mission statement, your one-on-one, your methods, your return policies, your customer service, everything that you do, that is your branding. Once again, going back to, McDonald's is our little scapegoat. McDonald's doesn't sell shoes. So that is not in their branding package. They specifically do food. And they, and they branched into different areas of food, but they have a niche. That is their niche market. Nike doesn't do food. Nike does shoes and apparel and products associated with sports. That is their niche market. So they stay within the boundaries of an area. And so what your branding will do, if you're selling bath products, then for you to turn around and start selling computers is going to be way out of your scope. And so you want to continue to keep your niche really kind of high and tight and focused on your target audience and your passion and what you're good at. Then also your branding needs to be cohesive. Everything needs to be the same. If you go to any McDonald's, no matter where it's at, you're going to see the exact same colors. You're going to see the exact same logo. You're going to see the exact same shirts. You're going to see the exact same menus, different, the way that they greet customers, even the stores, how they're decorated and built and that sort of thing. Everything is very strategic. So that way you are, once again, getting an emotional response, because when you walk into the store, it's familiar. It's just like the one at home, or it's just like the one down the street, and it's just like the one in the next town. So whenever you go there, it is a familiar sight, and it is something of comfort. And that is a marketing tactic. So that is also very important to understand. So when you kind of deal with your logos and branding, and what we typically try to do and what we teach people is you want everything to be very cohesive, and not everything is just a little piece of clip art and some font. There is a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot more associated with it. There's a lot more research that's involved with it. And if you take those little bits of time and have someone who will help you with that, walk you through that, or at least if you take the time to understand those pieces, then it will come together, and it will all fall into place. And if it's not in your scope or your forte to do this, then by all means, it is not a lack on your part to ask for help. I am not a plumber by any means, and if I tried to replumb my house, there would be total devastation. So I know when it is out of my scope of knowledge and range, and I can hire somebody else to do that. That's their profession, and that is their desire to do that. So I hope that this has really helped you in understanding a little bit more on what you put forward as your first concept of your business when reaching potential clients, and what it says about you and how it represents you. This is the Creative Guidance Podcast with Carrie Silverhorn, episode number 2. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.